The struggle as an affiliate owner, as a leader, is always to figure out where do I need to direct my time, my resources, and my energy. And that can be one of the biggest struggles that you have as a leader. Is like, hey, there's 1,000 things on the to-do list. Where do I start? Okay. And what we're going to be talking about today is the gym mayor audit. Okay. And what we're going to help you start to sift through and make decisions on is, hey, how do I start to optimize my life, my day, my time in order to get to the main thing? Because we all know that when you work on the main thing, positive changes happen. How many of you guys have been to a mastermind? You figure out that one thing you need to do, you go there, you maybe fire somebody on Tuesday, and then everything gets better. Raise your hand. Yeah, you guys know the deal, right? It's because we've pinpointed, hey, what is that linchpin? What is that key log that I mentioned in the video when we were talking about what your question was gonna be for the hot seat? How do I find that one thing that's creating a log jam in my life, my relationships, my leadership components with my team, or just my systems within the affiliate? And that's what we're gonna talk about. So what does it mean to be the gym mayor? Somebody give me something. What does it mean to be the gym mayor to you? It's better if we interact, just for the record, yeah. Brian, shockingly raise your hand. Brian, go. Yeah, Brian says you're not responsible for the coaching on the floor, but the vibes in the room. You know, something I learned early in my military life is like you can delegate responsibility, you cannot delegate accountability. And as a leader, you're accountable for everything. You may not be responsible for that task, but you are accountable for the outcome of said task. Okay. Now, the gym mayor has a couple of different meanings. I'd like to think of it as like, what's the qualitative definition of the gym mayor, and then what's the quantitative definition of the gym mayor? The qualitative definition of the gym mayor is simply, you have time autonomy. What we describe as, hey, you walk through the gym, you talk a little shit, shake some babies, kiss some hands, right? Is it the other, yeah, whatever. But you own your time. You work on the things that you want to work on in the gym, and then you have a team that does the rest. That's the qualitative aspect of the gym mayor. And I was really thinking I'd probably spend far too much time in my office doodling on notebooks and whiteboards to try to define terms, because I think it's really important. And I learned that on seminar staff. It's like, hey, if we're going to talk about things, there need to be definitions. And this is what I came up when we talk about the gym mayor. The gym mayor is your vision plus your KPIs. It's important that you pair these two together. I have to know what I want, and then I have to have the measurables associated with getting from A to B. It's important that you have both of them. Okay? Because ultimately what that means is the gym mayor is going to maximize my impact. And you guys have heard me talk about this at length. Impact. What does that mean? When we say impact, we mean that impact across the three stakeholders of the affiliate. You, as the gym owner, your team, and the community. It must serve all three. I was a little disappointed in Cody when I made this slide. He's like, what's this? What are these three lines, man? I don't know what's happening here. And I said, aren't you a level 3 coach? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I'm revoking your level 3. Right? Does anybody know what those 3 lines mean? Okay. I know the seminar staff does. Those 3 lines mean exactly equal to. Identical. So if you guys go back to the level 1, we think about the power equation, force times distance over time equals average power, which is exactly equal to intensity. Getting to the gym mayor is exactly equal to having the impact that you dreamed of when you started the affiliate. You get to direct your time, your energy, your resources to the places that have the largest impact on the people in your ecosystem. This is really important, because when you're making decisions on a daily basis, this is what you should be asking yourself. Is what I'm working on driving me towards the impact that I set out to have with my team, my family, or my community? And if it's not, spoiler alert, stop doing it. So when you're talking about being the gym mayor, number 1, you get to choose where you spend your time within the affiliate. How many of you guys have spent any amount of time just reacting to the dumpster fires that walk into your office? Raise your hand. Yeah, we all have. You're like, all right, got the morning blocked off. I'm going to do some work. I'm going to respond to those emails. And somebody walks in, they're like, hey, so-and-so came by yesterday, said they wanted to cancel their membership. And you're like, did you do anything about that? And they're like, oh, I'm here talking to you about it. And you're like, bring your neck closer to my hand, okay? Right? Or you're in your office and it's just a constant drive-by of office of questions. And be like, hey, you got 5 minutes? And you're like, no, but come on in, have a seat, right? You get to choose where you spend your time in the affiliate. You get to enjoy all the best parts of being in the affiliate. You guys already know what the best parts of being in the affiliate are. Somebody walks in. We were having a conversation yesterday. I forget who it was. Who was talking to me about somebody in their gym that lost 80 pounds in the past 9 months? Yeah, Brandon. Right, he's just like, dude, somebody came in. He's like, he's like, I've been here. I've lost 80 pounds in the last 9 months. And he's like, I'm not done. I'm like, dude, that's so badass. That is so badass. That's the stuff. That's the good stuff. You know, watching your coaches run killer classes where you're like, you're not even seeing what's going on. You're just hearing it. You're just hearing the cues going. You're hearing the barbells move in sync. It's just fucking beautiful, right? That's what we're chasing. And you're the leader of the community. You get to develop other people. Going back to what I said earlier, you can think of no greater endeavor than to improve another human being. Okay? That's the gym merit. You get to direct that time and energy and those resources to improve everybody else in your ecosystem. But understand, it does start with you. It does start with you. And that's a fatal flaw that we probably all come to the table with. As an affiliate owner, as a CrossFitter, you're all givers. You wouldn't be here if you weren't. So we have to understand, in order to be selfless, there is a certain amount of selfishness required to be able to do that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because the goal is for all of you guys. This is the most fun thing you could ever do, right? I can think of few careers that you would do every morning where you wake up fired up. You're like, man, I am just going to crush it today. I'm going to walk into that gym. I'm going to coach the shit out of these classes. I'm going to have a great staff meeting. I'm going to get 2 or 3 emails from clients about how I changed their lives. That's what we're all chasing. That's fun. That's what it's supposed to be. That's what it can be. Admittedly, that's not how it starts. Okay, most of you guys know that. That's what you have in your mind when you open the affiliate, and then on day one, you're like, this has looked much different in my mind than it does this morning as I'm sitting here in this gym. But it's important. I think that you, all of you as affiliate owners, are some of the most important people on planet Earth. The world's a mess. Right? But when you walk into an affiliate, it doesn't seem like it's a mess. Brandon was telling a story yesterday. A guy came into his gym. I don't even know how the conversation started, but came up. He's like, are you guys the best hour gym? He was like, yeah. And he's like, I knew this gym was different. I just knew it. The vibe was different. And understand, your job as an affiliate is to give people that consistency that they're looking for, not just in their fitness and their health, in their life. They're just looking for consistency. They're looking for somebody to follow. They're looking for a positive role model. They're looking for somebody to do the right thing. You get the opportunity to do that every single day. Enjoy it. It's really fun. It's one of the most rewarding things you can ever do. It's even more amazing if you do it the right way. And some of you are starting to get a taste of it. I've had some really cool conversations just in the last 12 hours from some of you guys who are struggling with your hot seat question. You're like, I'm freaked out. Everything's okay. Like, congratulations. That's how it's supposed to work. Right? But we typically live in such chaos that we start to convince ourselves that this is normal. Oh, I'm just an affiliate owner. I'm just supposed to look haggard all the time and live in my car. Right? No, you're not. And people who are telling you that just don't know what they're doing. It doesn't have to be that way. It can be awesome. You can drop your kids off at school. You can take free time if you want. You can take your wife to a middle of the day lunch date. You could do all those things. And it can be really fun. You can walk in, you can high five, you can make jokes with people, you can ask them how their day is going, talk to them about their kids, their life, their dreams, all of those things. And you can go on with the rest of your day. And that's the goal. We have to start to instill some tools in order to be able to get there. So, did you guys get the email about writing down the 10 things? Okay, raise your hand if you've got 10 things and you're here ready with those 10 things. Okay, here's the deal. I want you to write down 10 things. This is really important. By the time this talk is over, I need to have 10 things on that piece of paper, either in that notebook or a notebook that you brought with you. You need to have 10 things on there. You're like, I don't know about 10 things. Just keep writing until you have 10. Okay. What is the 10 most impactful things that you can do for your affiliate? The 10 most impactful things that you can do for your affiliate to move it forward. And that could be business, that could be for you, that could be for your team. It could be a combination of all of those. Spoiler, it probably is a combination of all of those. But I want you to have that list. And I'm going to have you write some things down as we work our way through this. Now, let's talk about first how to not make impact in your affiliate. And I think more importantly sometimes than how you are supposed to do something, it's just as important to know how you should not do something. I always make this joke when I'm teaching like level ones or even when we do onboardings at our gym. It's like, hey, I'm going to give you the equation for injury. Okay? It looks like this. Take something that you're not very competent with, add more weight, then go fast. I don't know where it is on that timeline, but injury's coming if you do that. Okay? So if we know that's the equation for injury, let's just avoid that. And it's the same thing in the affiliate. How many of you are not currently working from a plan of some sort? You just walk into their gym and you're like, I know I'm supposed to do something today, but I'm not entirely sure what it is. Oh, there's an email, I'll respond to that. How many of you guys are currently living that life? It's okay, raise your hand. Yeah, we're gonna start with being a little vulnerable. Yeah, that's okay, it happens, right? That's not weird. It doesn't have to be forever though. You're reactive to how you spend your time. Everything that shows up to your office is where you spend your time. How many of you live that life? You're like, it shows up and you're like, I guess I'm gonna be doing this for the rest of the day. Yeah. And you simply hope that it'll work out. Your plan, your strategy is the hope and pray method. I really hope I get a lead today, and I pray to God nobody tests my patience this morning. Right? Okay. Hope is neither a plan nor a course of action. Okay? So we don't want to operate from there. Most importantly, stop looking around the rest of the affiliate community and asking what those are people doing. Look in this room. There's a lot of people in this room doing it really well. Really well. Ask those people, right? And I'll give you a little hint. If somebody's just spouting off their opinion about things, find somebody else to talk to. If somebody's giving you actionable steps based on their experiences on like why that is or is not a good idea, it's probably somebody you should listen to. And you guys know how we work. We speak in very little absolutes when we coach you, because that's not how any of it works. Business ownership lives entirely in the gray. There's very little black and white when it comes to running a business. Just like there's very little black and white when it comes to coaching when you walk out onto the floor. There's principles. We want to abide by those principles, and we have to be okay operating in the gray. So here's how you can ensure that that does happen, that you can have the impact that you want, right? First, define what success means for you, both personally and professionally. This is really important. A lot of us think solely about the business and don't understand that you, are the linchpin to the business. Joel has a saying, right? Like, better me, better everyone. Okay? So you have to understand, it needs to apply to both you and the business. What does success look like? Where do you want to be in 3 years? What do you want your morning to be like? What do you want to have? What do you want to experience? What do you want to be doing with your time and your energy? Make your calendar reflect those priorities. Marcus is a huge component of this, and I would attribute a lot of my organizational skills, which are still probably just on average compared to him, right? Show me your calendar, and I'll tell you what your priorities are. Show me your calendar, and I'll tell you what your priorities are. Because if it's not on the calendar, it's not important to you. This was a huge struggle for me when I left the military. Because the military is good at a handful of things. Wasting money and then telling you where to be. Okay. But usually early, and you just wait for a long time for whatever it is to start. Okay. And when I transitioned out, I did not use a calendar. I was like, I'm good. I'm an adult. I can make this work. And I was double booking, didn't know where I was supposed to be, completely unorganized. And then I was like, oh, I probably need to fix that. Right? And every year, arguably probably every quarter at this point, I make a concerted effort to get better at prioritizing my time. Because I'm no different than any of you guys. I still own my affiliate. And what we all have to understand is like there are people counting on us as affiliate owners. And that's a gift, by the way. It's not a burden, it's a gift. There's people counting on me. You guys are counting on me and the team to deliver what we told you we were going to deliver. Your clients are counting on you to deliver what you told them to deliver. And if I'm not prioritizing my time, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to underdeliver, if deliver at all. You have to prioritize your time. And then you have to do it consistently. You want to give a stab at the CrossFit charter for training? Mechanics, consistency, and then intensity. It's no different in the business. Mechanics. That's your systems. That's your operations inside the affiliate. Then do those every single day, no matter what. Then you can do the intensity that is business, which is more, faster, more and faster. But you have to do these things consistently. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, that is not sexy. Nobody's posting about that shit on Instagram. Hey, my calendar's organized, everybody. It's going to be a good day. Right? No. There's people posting stuff on Instagram, they are not organized. They just want eyeballs. Right? You have to get organized and you need to do it consistently. You need to be diligent about where you spend your time, who you spend your time with, and what it is that you are doing with that time. So what does success look like for you personally? Right? Where are you spending your time? What's your role at work? What's your income look like? What's your health look like? Jay talked about it at the last mastermind. He got inflamed, as I called him. Okay. And he reprioritized his time. I've been through that too. How many of you have had any bout as an affiliate owner where you're like not training as much as you know you need to or would like to? Raise your hand. Yeah, we've all been there. Okay. It's not acceptable. Make the time. Take care of yourself. Okay. Because the better version of you is more capable of dealing with stress, right? You can do longer days. You can spend more time on the work that needs to be done. But you got to take care of yourself. And it leads to better relationships. At the end of the day, that's what we're here. We're in the relationship business. That's what we're here to do. We're here to foster and create powerful relationships. Okay? So I want you guys thinking about this stuff as we work through this exercise. Okay? And then you put them in an order of priority. What's most important to you? Right? So what does the business need to look like in order for you to make that possible? Where are you spending your time? What's that revenue need to look like? And what's my team look like? I was talking to our team yesterday. At the end of the day, we're trying to solve probably one of three problems: time, team, and tools. Where am I spending my time? What does my team look like? And where am I deficient in the tools that I need in order to execute what it is that I'm here to do? I promise you it falls in one of those three buckets: time, team, and tools. Okay? So again, what are the top 10 things that you need to do to improve your business in the next 12 months? And when you write those things down, I'd be willing to bet that all of them fall in one of those three buckets: time, team, and tools. So I want you to write this down. If you're looking at those goals, how will achieving these goals impact you as a business owner? Write it down. Write it down in 1 to 2 sentences. And this is important. I need you to write it down. This is really important. Write it down. Any of you guys ever been in a mindset course with Joel? You understand the power of putting pen to paper. Write it down. Okay? 1 to 2 sentences. How will achieving this goal impact you as a business owner? What would it do for your life? How would you feel when you wake up in the morning? How'd you feel at the end of the day when you lock the doors or somebody else locks the doors? How will achieving these goals impact your team? How many of you guys look forward to seeing your team every day? I love seeing my team every day. Contrary to popular belief, you can have a team that's awesome, right? And that's not where a lot of us live a lot of the time. You're like, gotta have a stable full of turds at my gym. They don't show up on time, right? That can be the case. It doesn't have to be the case, right? But if you get focused and you hit the targets that you want, how will achieving those targets and those goals impact your team and your staff? What will they wake up feeling every single morning? Will they be able to leave that job that they hate to come in and work full-time in the affiliate? How would that impact their relationships, their family? Again, there's people relying on us, not just our clients, but our team as well. And it's not a burden, it's a gift. You guys already know this one. How would achieving those impact your members? How would it impact your members? One of my favorite things, both in Best Hour and at the affiliate, is that Slack channel titled Client Wins. It is my favorite thing in the world. Sometimes I just sit looking at Slack, I'm like, is there somebody gonna post something in there? Like, please, somebody post a win in there. Because those wins are big. They could be somebody losing 80 pounds. They could be somebody doing a box jump for the first time. It could be somebody getting their first pull-up. It could be you guys paying yourself for the first time. It could be getting a month ahead in expenses. Right? What does achieving those goals do for your members? And then ultimately, what does it do for you personally? All of us remember how excited we were when we hit submit on the affiliate application. I want you guys to have that feeling every single day. I want you to be that excited about going to the gym. I want you to be excited about going to the 9 a.m., even though we know that class is going to run over because they don't listen. Okay? I want you to be excited about running your staff meetings. I want you to be excited about doing the staff retreat. I want you to be excited about hosting events at your affiliate. If you're not having fun, then what the hell are we doing? It should be fun. Again, this is one of the most rewarding things you can do. And if you're not having fun, we need to figure out how to have fun. I promise you, all of you are better versions of yourselves if you're having fun. All of you. Jason Ackerman, as annoying as he is, we're all better when he's having fun. We've figured that out over the years. I'm like, can we just make Jason happy and then all of us will be happy? Okay. Right? It should be fun. So what do you believe the keys to success will be in order to achieve those goals? And what do you need to do to make that happen? That's what you're here to figure out this weekend. And that might be something you need to figure out for where you're going to go for the next 12 months, or it might be something that you need to figure out for something that needs to happen in the next 30 to 90 days. I don't know what that is, but we're going to figure it out. But the answer is you got to set a time aside consistently to make that happen. You have to stay focused. You have to have the discipline to stay on task. When I teach level 2s, one of the things that I teach in one of those breakouts is something I describe as visual discipline. So you have a new coach that steps out onto the floor. We're doing a seeing drill, and I don't even watch the group move. I'm just watching the coach scan around, and looks like they have ping pong balls in their head, and their eyes are just all over the place. And the first thing I try to teach them is look there, just there, and look there at the right time. And understanding this concept of visual discipline changes everything as a coach. Things start to slow down. You start to see more. If you can see more, you can correct more. If I can correct more, I can impact their movement. It's the same thing with your time. You have to start to develop time discipline. You need to block that time, and then you need to protect it, which means you need to say no to certain things. No, I can't talk to you right now. Okay? We can set up a meeting tomorrow, but right now, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, because that is going to drive me to the impact that I'm chasing.
If you're enjoying this content, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Also, if you're interested in what we do in Affiliate University, there's going to be a link somewhere around this video. Book a call. We'd love to talk to you about how we can help you build a better box.
Now, how do you determine how much time that is? At the bare minimum, 5 hours, right? Set aside at least 1 hour, Monday through Friday, to start working on the thing. I wouldn't tell you that it's enough. I would tell you that it's enough to start doing some damage. It's not enough, though. It's not enough to get where you want to go, but it's a start. This whole thing is a process. And if you look at yourself as an ever-evolving being, things get a lot easier. There's no end state. There's just better. So work on getting better. Maybe you started out with 4 hours. Okay, how do we get to 5? How many of you have had that call or had that question for one of us on a call? Hey, I'm trying to find time. Raise your hand if that's you. Yeah, most of us are fighting time. And as a business owner, that is your number one commodity, time. You're constantly spending it and you never get more of it. How do we maximize it? And if you double that, you start to create momentum. And here's the important thing that I want all of you to understand. When we're talking about time, it is not a one-for-one return on outcomes. It's not, hey, I freed up 1 hour of time, I'm going to start to get 1 more hour of productivity. It's exponential in nature. If you can free up 1 to 2 more hours, your productivity is going to speed up 3, 4, 5-fold. It's a 1 + 1 = 3 scenario. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. And if you look at time through this lens, you start to get real bullish about how you spend your time. I know that if I can get that meeting off the calendar because it's not necessary anymore, I'm not freeing up 1 hour. I'm freeing up 4 hours because that 1 hour was right in the middle of a 5-hour block. And I was doing something important, and now I have to stop and I have to start the whole damn thing over again. Okay? It's not a one-for-one return. It's exponential. So how do I get more of it? Because I promise you, whatever your goal is, you will probably cut the time to achieve that goal in half. Deep work. How many of you guys have heard this concept? I'm going to be very honest. I thought this was complete horse shit back in the day. I was like, it's just an excuse for people to not do work. Right? They're like, oh, I'm doing deep work. And I'm like, you're gallivanting, doing something. I don't know what you're doing. Okay? But it is a thing. I will also tell you it is a muscle. And if you have not done deep work before, you are weak at doing deep work. It's very hard. Okay? But just like training, you can get really good at it. But you have to understand how it works, and you have to block your time appropriately. And you have to be okay with not being really good at it to begin with. You had 4 hours blocked off, 2 of it you're standing around just staring at your keyboard. You're like, at some point I'm going to do something. Okay? And then you get better, right? And then you get into a flow. And you're like, oh, I can do real damage with 5 hours. I can do a week's worth of work in 5 hours. Should you give me a day? I'll do a month's worth of work. Okay? And if we understand what the outcome of that is, a lot of things start to change. We start to be less reactive and more proactive. We start to be thinking ahead, and we start to head things off at the pass. We start to be able to put together coherent strategies that get us where we want to go. This is really important. But understand, you're going to be garbage at it on the outset. Add it to your calendar. Put that on your calendar and protect it. And stick to it. So here's what I want you guys to do. Open up your calendars right now. Open them up. If you got a computer, open it up. If you got it on your phone, open it up right now. We're going to do this right now. Accountability. Open it up. I want you to look at your calendar, look at that week. You're like, where do you have time that is open? on your calendar. Like, oh, there's a 5-hour block of time. If that block of time is open, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. It's going to get eaten up with things that are not on your priority list. Block it right now. If it's 2 hours, block it. If it's 5 hours, block it. If you can put it on repeat, even better. Every Tuesday, 8 to noon, deep work. If you want to give it a better name, title it important shit. Because that will evolve over time. What you're working on this month is not going to be what you're working on next month, probably. Title it. Hey, I need to get those reinvigoration campaigns done. I need to get my budget sorted out. I need to make my ideal class experience. Whatever it is, title it. And don't do anything else. That deep work is not for busy work. It's not for answering emails. It's not for doing any, it's not responding in Slack channels. It's not for any of that stuff. It is for getting shit done. Okay? That email can wait. I'm going to tell you guys, this is something I learned at Harvard. I don't know if you guys know, but I went there. Okay? You have 24 hours to respond to any email that comes in there. 24 hours at the bare minimum. That email can sit for 24 hours. How many of you get an email and you're like, I need to respond to this right now? That little red number pops up on you and you have a mild panic attack. You're like, what is that email? It's the newsletter from Cody. Okay? It can wait. Okay? Make sure that when you're doing that deep work, that you're not spending it being busy. We all know how to be busy. For those of you that haven't had an onboarding call with me, you guys already know what I'm going to say. All of you affiliate owners are world class at two things: making people fit and being busy. Okay? I want to change the second one. I want you to be world class at being productive. Keep making people fit. Everybody got that on your calendar? We're going to check. And again, like I said earlier, you're not going to be perfect at it on the outset. Okay? You're going to make mistakes. There will be things that will come up that you have to tend to. It's going to happen. I want you to tell yourself the exact same thing that you tell your clients when they come in and they're like, I was doing really good on my nutrition plan and I had a cheat meal, so I just quit. This isn't worth it. And you're like, that sounds like the most insane thing I've ever heard in my life. Or we could just start up on your next meal and get back to it. Same thing here. Stuff's going to come up. Don't beat yourself up about it. Get back onto it. Because what I will tell you is the more diligent you are about this, the less things will come up. If any of you guys ever read the 4-Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss has a little quote in there. It says, when you stopped reacting to emergencies, emergencies magically stop happening. Don't react to them. Whatever that is that just showed up to your office, it can wait. There's no such thing as an emergency email. Okay? They would have called. Many of you already know this. You're struggling with time. You're like, I don't have that time on the calendar. You have to make time. Now, I'm not saying you're going to manifest time. That's ridiculous. But I am saying that you're going to have to say no to some other things. You're going to have to start identifying things that are on your calendar that maybe shouldn't be there. Katie and I just went through this exercise the other day. We started looking at the calendar, and I was like, we got off a call, and I was like, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? She's like, we're canceling this meeting, aren't we? And I was like, we are. And she's like, got it. It's going off. It doesn't need to be there. Because again, it's not 1 hour. If there's 7 people in that meeting, that's 7 hours. Locked up time. Probably more than that, because 30 minutes before the meeting, everybody's thinking about the meeting. 30 minutes after the meeting, everybody's trying to transition back to doing what they were doing. Okay? So we have to start taking things out. Delegate some stuff. If you struggle with delegation, we'll help you with that. Right? Does that task even need to exist? Are we doing that just because it's always the way that we've done it? Be really, really aggressive about clearing out your calendar. Katie and Lee will tell you, about every 4 to 6 months, I get in there on my calendar and I just crush it. I'm like, just rearrange the whole thing. Just open up more blocks of time. Why? Because all of you are counting on us to show up and do the right thing. And that means I need more time. Now, why is this important? This is the good part. Okay. This is the symbol for U.S. Navy rescue swimmers. When I was a young junior officer, when I transitioned to my second ship, they're like, hey, do you want to go to rescue swimming school? And I'm like, yeah, I kind of hate my job. I'll do anything other than doing my job. So I'll go to every school that you want to send me to. So they sent me to school. That's me, 2006. It was a good time. I look a little different. So my instructor's name's Kevin. He's a nice guy. Okay. But you go to the school and you learn a ton. It's a super high stress school. You know, learning to rescue people that are drowning. Okay. Super high stakes, really high fail rate for the school. But I loved it. It was awesome. Right. And the rescue swimmer motto is, so others may live. Right? I'm going to put myself in harm's way so that somebody else can live. And I do think about that a lot in the context of being an affiliate owner. You're like, what does that even mean? Like, how is this relevant to me as an affiliate owner? Well, it goes back to what I mentioned earlier. There are other people depending on you. And there is a conversation about saving lives to be had here. Can anybody think of a scenario inside of your affiliate where, like, had that person not walked in the doors here, I don't know if they'd still be here today? I see a lot of head nods in the group. I can think of a couple, more than a couple. That's an important thing to think about when you're stressed out. You're like, hey, I got to show up today because I'm going to change somebody's life. I'm going to get them to make better decisions. And then they'll make better decisions tomorrow. And then in 6 months, they're going to look back and they're going to be a completely different person. They'll be off meds. They may have quit drugs. They may have left a bad relationship. They may have gotten a different job. I can name all those people by name. You are saving lives. So when you think about how you spend your time, it should have that weight behind it. Hey, if I'm not spending my time on things, I'm forfeiting somebody the opportunity to have a better life, to be able to play with their grandkids, to avoid surgery, to maybe live another 10 years. It's important. When I was at rescue swimmer school, as you progress through the weeks, you get to the final week and it's all scenario based. And it starts pretty basic. It's like, hey, go rescue that person. And the scenarios get more and more complex. It turns from, hey, just rescue somebody who's in the act of drowning to, I've got to get that pilot out of an ejection seat. I need to get through this parachute. I need to get this person into the helicopter. There's multiple victims. And it progresses and it gets more and more stressful, more and more violent. And I'm sitting on the side of the pool watching a young sailor go through one of the scenarios. And sitting next to me is another young sailor who's one of the instructors. We're probably about the same age at this point, both late 20s. And this guy, a year earlier, had been tasked when Katrina had happened. So for those of you that are old enough to know, remember there was a huge flood in New Orleans. Just absolute devastation in ways that most people cannot imagine. And he was flying operations in New Orleans for weeks and rescued well over 100 people in that time frame. All sorts of crazy stories. And he's sitting next to me on the pool deck, and we're watching this young sailor go through one of the drills. And this kid, for lack of better terms, is getting the shit kicked out of him. Okay? We are watching the instructors drown this young kid who's supposed to be saving people. And he's doing this, it's happening over and over and over. Swims up, chaos, drowning, reset the drill, over and over and over. Probably after like 4 or 5 iterations of this, I'm watching it, And I'm running through the scenarios in my head. And the young instructor next to me says, hey, he says, listen, LT, if you remember nothing from this course, remember this. When chaos shows up, and he said, and I promise you, it's coming. He's like, if you find yourself in the water, make no mistake, you are there to deal with chaos. When it shows up, remember there is always at least one thing that you can do to get yourself back in the fight. Not 2, not 3, not 5. What is the one thing that I can do right now in this moment that will allow me to keep going? Okay. And I never forgot that. Because I'm watching this kid drown. And it looks a lot like this. And it's way worse than that, by the way. If you've never been forcefully drowned, it's terrifying. You lose most motor control when that happens. You start to do things that don't make sense, but there's always one thing that you can do. And as we're watching that drill, the kid keeps doing the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm like, just put your snorkel in your mouth. But he can't process that. There's too much happening. And I'm sure he's thinking to himself, why am I swallowing all of this water? It's like, because you're not thinking. Put your snorkel in your mouth and go back to work. Eventually my time comes, boom, snorkel pops out, first thing, boom, right back in my mouth, back to work. They keep ripping it out, I keep putting it back in. And the whole time it just allows me to keep working. Okay? Chaos is there. It's a mess. And eventually you get to work through the drill. But you only get to finish the drill if you have the wherewithal to do the one thing that will keep you in the drill. And it's the same thing when you're a business owner. When chaos shows up at your door, and it will, what's the one thing that I need to do right now that will keep me going towards the target that I have already decided on? And a lot of you, this is what we see in the hot seats. This is what we see. Right? All of you see 2 people sitting on the hot seat. We see people drowning. I'm like, hey, put your hand out, ask the question, don't make excuses. Let's figure out what the one thing is. What's that snorkel for you that you need to put in your mouth so you can get back to work? That's what we see when we're on the hot seat. It's not 50 things. It's not something overly complex. There's no magic marketing drill. It's like, have that conversation with your coach who doesn't show up on time. Do your budget every day. Block your time on your calendar. It could be any number of things, but I assure you, it starts with one. What is the one thing that you can do that allows you to direct the rest of your time, energy, and resources to the thing that you know is going to give you momentum? Where are you focusing your time during chaos? Because we know it's coming. I was having this conversation at level 2 recently. Lindsay was there, and there was a young coach there, and she was talking about they live in an area, where they have high drop-in rates during the summer because it's very touristy. She's like, we just never know who's going to show up to the 5 p.m. Just every day it's chaos, people showing to the door. I was like, so you do know? And she's like, yeah, but they don't register for the class. I'm like, but you know they're going to show up, right? And she's like, but we don't know who they are. And I'm like, it doesn't matter if you know who they are. You know there's going to be people that you don't know are going to show up to the class, right? She's like, I see what you're saying. I said, so what's the one thing that you could do to deal with this problem? I was like, you would just plan for all those people to be there, whether they registered or not, because we know they're going to show up. That's the one thing. Just solve for it. You got 10 rowers, you look back and you're like, every day, 5 people that we don't know are going to show up to the gym. I'm like, so is it 10 people or is it 15? She's like, okay, I get your point. I'm like, that's it. You know it's coming. Plan for it. Figure out what the one thing is. This is important as you go through this process. So as a rescue swimmer, there's a checklist. Everything in the military has a checklist, FYI. It's a checklist. I'm not going to go through the whole checklist because the rest of the checklist doesn't matter. Step 3 is the one that matters. Step 3 is the one that matters when you're going through this process. And step 3 is in close, in control. Now, why is this important? So I'll give it to you in the context of being a rescue swimmer, and then we'll talk about the context of you as an affiliate owner. When you get into the water and you're approaching a victim, at some point, you have to engage. At some point, I have to come face to face with whatever that chaos is. Okay? And in order to manage it, you have to be in close and you have to be in control. Because if you do not stay in control, there are now 2 victims, them and you. And I've only had to do this once in my life, and it wasn't even in the context of being in the Navy. In 2010, my wife, who's sitting back there, we were in Fort Lauderdale, we got engaged that weekend, we're sitting out on the beach, and I look out, probably 150 yards, and I can tell there's a guy, and I'm like, please don't be drowning right now. Sure as shit, I'm like, he's drowning. And I'm like, yep, it's me. All right, here we go. So I start swimming out there, and as I'm swimming, I'm going through the Rolodex. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm like, what did I forget? I'm like, I gotta start going through the checklist of what am I supposed to be doing. And I'm approaching, and at some point, you have to make the decision. You're like, I'm going. And the strange part about that is, when you make that decision to approach the victim, you have to do it with what seems like an unreasonable amount of violence. It doesn't actually make sense. So I go up, I get maybe 8 feet from him, and I'm like, all right, here we go. And you do this technique where you go under the water and you swim up, so you turn over and you're looking at them at the surface as you swim underneath them so that you can go onto the other side. And when you're doing that, so many thoughts go through your mind, like just in a crazy, I'm thinking like he's bigger than I thought he was. I'm more tired than I would like to be right now. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to turn him over, right? How am I gonna get there? And then eventually I'm like, what's the one thing? The one thing is go. I cannot think about this anymore. I have to go. And then I remembered, I'm like, yeah, it has to be violent. So I turn and I swim, and I rolled this dude over, and as soon as I rolled him over, I'm like, I either rip this guy's shoulder out or his head is no longer on his body. I said, but here's the deal. I know either way, he's gonna live. And had I not approached him like that, this is a big dude, we would have had serious problems, because there's nothing worse than being face to face with somebody who's in panic mode when you're in water. They will drown you. It's not an if. They will absolutely drown you out of pure panic. They will grab you and they will pull you down, and now it is a shit show. What's the one thing? I need to get behind him, and I need to go, and it needs to be violent. Boom. Grab him, turn him over, start swimming. And I'm like, fuck, all right, we're there. But had I not done that, I don't know what the outcome of that would be. Okay. In close, in control. And that means when we're talking about in close, in control, you need to get in close with your calendar. You need to get in close with the systems in your business. And sometimes you need to be violent with how you reorganize it. You need to do things that seem extreme. We're taking that whole block of time off. We're getting rid of it. I'm moving these over there. I'm going to up one whole day. I don't know how we're going to fill those other classes, but that's what's happening. Sometimes that is necessary, particularly when you are dealing with what feels like chaos. Because again, understand this, if you do not control it, it will control you. If you do not control it, it will control you. So hit it. You'll need to approach it with, again, what might seem like unreasonable violence. But that is what was required in some instances. Hey, we're canceling a class here because these 2 people show up, and I need to move it somewhere else, and that's going to free up 5 hours of my time because I can have one coach take his 2 classes, and I'll get the entire afternoon back. Whatever you're worried about is going to be far less detrimental than you refusing to engage with whatever the problem is.
It's not going to go away. So you have to deal with it. Everybody got your list? Pull it out. I want you to circle the bottom 7 items on the list. You got a list of 10. I want you to put a big circle around 4 through 10. Give me a thumbs up when you're good. This is your avoid at all cost list. 4 through 10 are your avoid doing those things at all cost list. Why? Because they're not the top 3, which means they're not that important. Going back to what I said earlier, sometimes it's more important to know what you shouldn't do than it is to know what you should do. And now you know that that list, 4 through 10, is what you should not be doing. And now you're only left with 3. And for sure, one of those is going to move you in the right direction. I heard this quote recently and it stuck with me. Successful people make better decisions compounded over time. Successful people make better decisions compounded over time. It's very rarely one big thing. It's a series of small things done consistently over time that yield big results. Blocking that 1 hour every single day to get an outcome that you won't see for 6 months. If you don't block it, you'll never see that outcome. Successful people make better decisions compounded over time. How many good decisions can you stack on top of each other? Day after day after day after day. The same thing that you tell your clients to do when they come into the gym every single day. Hey, what's the good decision? Show up tomorrow. What's another good decision? Drink more water. What's another good decision? Eat a little bit more protein. What's another good decision? Don't eat the gummy bears. Seems pretty small. Not small when you compound them all together. Showing up every day, drinking more water, eating more protein, stop eating like shit. We all know what that ends up with. A pretty solid base of fitness. It's no different with you and as an affiliate owner. And sometimes if we would follow our own fucking advice, we'd be in a better spot. Some of you are more mad at the barista at Starbucks who gets your order wrong than you are with yourself for not keeping the promise that you made to yourself 6 months ago. I want you to think about that. Some of you wrote something down 6 months ago and didn't do shit about it. Hold yourself accountable. It's okay to be angry with yourself. I would argue it's necessary in some scenarios. And then do something about it. Hey, I didn't keep myself accountable. Great, move on. What's the one thing I can do that would make me accountable to the thing that I said I was going to do? Do that. And then do it again tomorrow. And this is the important part. Most people will not make time to do the most important thing, but they will do what is ever on their calendar, which for most people is just filled with a bunch of nonsense. So what's the fix? Take the one thing and put it on the calendar. And protect it at all costs. Protect it at all costs. I promise you, most of the problems that many of you will present over the course of the next 2 days can be solved by you just saying no. Hey, I'm going to do this. Somebody comes in with a good idea fairy and a bunch of drunk monkeys, and you're like, oh, we'll just do all of those. And I'm like, no. We'll do something else. We'll do what I had already planned. Because I know that was in the vision. I know that's what's going to be most impactful to the team. So that's what I want you guys to figure out this weekend. And it starts with things that don't seem that grandiose, which is open up your calendar, block the time, and don't do anything else. Joel's going to come talk to you about sales, but you guys all know Joel's the identity guy. Start to identify is somebody who spends their time on the right things. Hey, I don't do shit that's busy work. That's for somebody else. I'm diligent about my time. I'm okay telling people, no, we can do that later. Start identifying as that person, not somebody who just lets everybody walk in and throw bad ideas on their desk. Hand them back. Be like, yo, if you want to do that, you figure it out, but that's not on the list. So what is it? What's the one thing you're going to do to push your affiliate forward? And if you've got it, great. I want you to get answers to that this weekend. And if you don't have it, I'm really hoping that this has given you a bit more clarity on that. And if you're still struggling with that, get with one of the coaches so that we can clarify that question for you. Again, many of you have been to these before, and you know how impactful it is if you get this dialed in and you figure out what the one thing is. You go back and you're just running on caffeine and good vibes for the next 3 months. Okay, that's fun. Okay, showing up every day to the affiliate, just waiting for things to be thrown at you is not fun. Okay, you get to dictate what that looks like. You get to decide what things you are and are not working on. You get to decide what programs you guys are going to run. You get to decide how coach development goes. You get to decide how you're going to change your member structure. You get to decide all of those things. Nobody but you. You have full control over all of those things, but you have to get in close and you have to get in control. And it will be uncomfortable. I'm just here to tell you guys the truth. You guys know I don't mince words. It will be uncomfortable, but there's no other way to do it. Okay? So commit to that. Can you guys do that for me this weekend? Awesome. I love you guys. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
If you are struggling with building your team, running the administrative portion of your gym, or just don't know what to do with regard to your strategy, that is exactly the things that we help people with inside of Affiliate University. So if you're trying to build a better box so that you can provide more impact to more people via this thing called CrossFit, we'd love to help you. So click the link somewhere around this video, set up a call, and we'll chat with you soon.